LeBron James has informed the Los Angeles Lakers that he will not be returning to that franchise after 8 years there. He's going to continue his NBA career somewhere else. And, of course, the team that's right in the mix for that is the Golden State Warriors. With the Golden State Warriors' Anthony Davis trade talks with Washington not gaining any traction, it now seems like the Golden State Warriors are hoping to shift their focus completely to LeBron James. We'll talk a little bit about that. And plus, reportedly, the Raptors and the Clippers are very close on nearing a Kawhi Leonard trade that would send Kawhi Leonard to Toronto and Brandon Ingram to the Los Angeles Clippers. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of the Full Court Podcast. I'm your host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at the Full Court YT on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. 60% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. It was 64%, so we're getting closer and closer. We got to get to our goal of 10,000 subscribers by the start of the 2026-27 season, and we can only do that with your guys' help. So if you've been watching the content every single day, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. In exchange for that, I'll be delivering you guys daily NBA content, but let's go ahead and get into it. So LeBron James has officially informed the Los Angeles Lakers that he is ruled out returning to the Lakers, and he's now going to move on. He's linked commonly to the Golden State Warriors. You know, he joined the Lakers in 2018. They won a championship in 2020. Regardless if it was in the bubble or whatever, they won a championship. But the team has clearly shifted its focus towards building around Luka Doncic after acquiring him a trade in last year's trade, the trade deadline of 2024-25. I'm getting my years together. And so at this point now, the Lakers, they already had showed that they were focused more on building around Luka first, and then they'd be open to bringing LeBron back. And it feels like at this point now, LeBron James told Dave McMenamin of ESPN, it was time to move on. It's simply put, and, to LeBron's credit, it is time to move on. So now the question becomes about, in regards to that, is that, did LA choose Luka over LeBron? And yes, they did. It's the right turn pivot to make, and they have to focus on their long-term future with Luka. Their window with Luka is a lot longer than what the window with LeBron would have been. LeBron is still a great player. You saw what he did in the playoffs last year. You can't take away from that. With Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic being down, he can still very much so help a team win a title. I don't think he can lead a team to the title anymore, but Luka Doncic is now the present and the future of this franchise. And, with Luka wanting them to make sure they upgrade the center position, all of this, they had to do that. And so the Lakers had to stop building every decision around LeBron's window and shift that towards now Luka's window. The Austin Reeves emerging as a key piece and having really good chemistry with Luka as well, it played a part into that. Now this is where the long-term focus and direction is for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, some people are asking, did they disrespect LeBron? I look at it this. LeBron and the Lakers both probably needed to part. And, would LeBron have been open to stay with the Lakers had they made him a more respectable deal and made him more of a priority? Probably, absolutely. But I think at this point, not meeting with him, not extending him an offer, it sent a loud message that we are now shifting our focus towards Luka. That's what we're doing. And, at this point, some people are going to judge it and say they casually let a all-time great go out of it. But the Lakers didn't technically kick LeBron out, but they all absolutely made the door open to that when they didn't make him the center of the plan anymore. And that was what they did, and that's now their focus as a franchise to move on from that. And that's just the reality of it. But with that said now, what teams are going to focus on LeBron? Reportedly, the Golden State Warriors are going to be focusing everything on LeBron. This one comes from Brian Windhorst, who says this. Right now, I'm taking the Anthony Davis thing off the front burner. I do not have data that says that's likely to happen. Now my information could change, but I do see traction. I do not see traction from the Wizards to want to do that. The Warriors told Jimmy Butler they're not trading him. I think the focus right now is, can they get LeBron James away from the Los Angeles Lakers? That's something they're going to try to get done today. Whether or not they can pull it off, let's wait and see. And it seems like as well, Anthony Davis and LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, has met with the Wizards in regards to discussing futures and things like that. As far as with Anthony Davis. So now it becomes, this is the focus. People have asked the question I even talked about on yesterday's episode. Is it a dream fit or is it a desperate swing? And I really think that it's both, right? Golden State should go for it because of Steph and LeBron, their friendship, their chemistry together, what they want to do. It makes basketball sense. LeBron's passing, his size, his IQ. It fits really good next to Steph Curry, right? Now, I do think the Warriors are going to need, other things around that to really make that if they want to open up a true championship window, which I don't think is ever going to be a true championship window. But this is one of the Golden State Warriors' last chance to maximize on Steph Curry's window, and that's what they're trying to do. It's still a bit complicated, right? The money is tight. The Kristaps Porzingis deal is taking the mid-level exception off the table for now, which means they could try to do something else. They're going to need Draymond Green to take less money, and they're probably going to have to move Moses Moody to get that done. And then it's still betting on LeBron taking a major pay cut to go play with Steph in the Golden State Warriors. So we'll see, right? It does feel a lot like fantasy basketball rather than a sustainable roster build. But hell, for what it's worth, the Golden State Warriors are going to try, and we'll see where they go on it. The part to take out of this, as well as that the trade talks with Anthony Davis have ended. It was always kind of that thing that seemed like, once it came out late last night that the pursuit of LeBron wasn't tied to Anthony Davis trade, when initially it was talked about as if the Anthony Davis trade would have to happen first, then use that to convince, LeBron to come. Now it seems like, that's it. The Washington doesn't want to move Anthony Davis. Golden State Warriors don't want to waste time and waste assets trying to, on a move that's not gaining traction. And now at this point, signing LeBron James is kind of simpler than trying to involve AD part of it first after the Kristaps Porzingis trade. Keeping Jimmy Butler, also, it's an interesting piece in all this, but hey, it is what it is. Now, one could say that was AD the bigger need for them, with him being a big and the defensive presence and all that. But I think overall, yes, the Golden State Warriors need interior defense. They need rebounding. They need all of that. Kristaps is going to help. AD's different. Kristaps is always, has injuries as well. But, at this point now, the Golden State Warriors are chasing the bigger name. They're chasing LeBron James, and we'll see what's going to happen in that. But LeBron isn't the only name that could move, because reportedly the Toronto Raptors and the Los Angeles Clippers are very close on getting a deal done. This one comes from Brian Windhorst as well, who says this is lining up. This trade could happen today. I think the Clippers and the Raptors have agreed on player compensation, and I think it would be Brandon Ingram, based on what I've been told, that would head to Los Angeles. What they've been hanging over is the draft compensation. The Raptors have all of their forward first picks. They have up to 4 to trade. Naturally, the Clippers will want multiple of those. Let's see if they can get this work out. The key part of this is that the Raptors are willing to offer Leonard an extension, and Leonard is willing to sign it. What's interesting is that despite him coming off a brilliant season with the Clippers, I'm told are not willing to offer Kawhi Leonard a contract extension of any sort. That's not on the table. He's not rejecting one to go with another. So, at the end of the day, it seems like Kawhi wants the long-term flexibility, right? He wants their security is the better word to use there, right? And so the Toronto Raptors, this makes sense for them because the fit's there. This does make sense and fit basketball-wise. Now, like I've said many times, you do not want to bet on Kawhi Leonard being who he was 7 years ago, the last time when he was with the Raptors. But the fact that they're willing to offer up an extension, the fact that it would give Toronto the instant star power that they already came into this offseason looking for, it makes sense. And Brandon Ingram grows out because you don't want Brandon Ingram and Kawhi Leonard on the same team to me, especially when you have some of the other forwards. You already have Scotty Barnes and stuff like that. Kawhi Leonard returning there instantly makes a impact on the fan base, on the franchise, and it gets them closer to that contention that they want. So we're going to see what happens in regards to this. We'll see if they can get it done, but Toronto still needs to be careful here, right? Because the Kawhi Leonard health and availability thing, it's still a big talking point for him, and it's always going to be a big talking point. And while that 2019 version of him isn't there, they don't necessarily need him to be that version walking through the door either. This move makes sense if Toronto believes that Kawhi gives them a real playoff ceiling that can fit in with the young players that they're already developing in the path forward that they already forged last year by going on a playoff run. And if those things make sense, great, so be it. Now you found your direction. You found your thing in the East. You're trying to move up in that Eastern Conference, and hopefully you can get that done. But now the side that you have to ask is what does this mean for the reset of the Clippers, right? We've already talked about the Clippers and before, and the young talent that they've kind of amassed since the trade deadline. They've kind of already been put in a natural place to pivot with youth. Does that make them more likely to try to bring Ben Mathurin back to see what he can do and develop? You got Garland. You got Wagler there. You got those young players. You drafted Bobo Miller, who I love Bobo Miller. I think he has tons of potential to be a player in this league. So you have some young pieces that you can already start with. And then you also have other veterans that you can move as well. You got Brook Lopez. You got, John Collins is a free agent. You got Derrick Jones Jr. You got these players you can also try to move off of and just get anything back and just start stacking whatever assets that you can get as you look to go into a rebuild. That's where they are, right? And some could say that the Clippers are giving up too soon, but I really look at this and say, yes, while Kawhi Leonard is brilliant when healthy, where's that really gotten the Clippers over that time? They've been a fun team to watch, and I do think if they were ever fully healthy over the last 2 or 3 years, they could have really been a championship contending, and that window could have been legitimate. But at the end of the day, this is an end of an era without them actually winning a championship, and that's what happens sometimes. The Clippers are, if they do this deal, they're choosing financial clarity and rebuilding around young youth, and I think that can be a dangerous line to walk, but it's a line that every team has to make at some point when you have an aging star. You have to make that decision on who and how to move forward, and that's what they're deciding here. They're choosing how to move forward if they do this trade with youth and trying to build something more sustainable that may take a little bit of extra time, but build something sustainable and see then if you can build a tough, scrappy team, and we'll see if they have success in doing that. Right? The last topic that we want to talk about before we get up out of here today is Robert Williams III re-signed with Portland. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is that, a lot of deals are going down right now, but he got 3 years, $44 million. And I'm not going to lie to you. I did not think that that's what the money that Robert Williams will get. Now, I do a Locked On NBA with one of the hosts, Matt Moore, there. Matt Moore had speculated, is this a deal that you can turn around and try to move and sell yourself on moving later? Because giving Robert Williams $14.5 million over 3 years with the injury history that he has, now we know when he's on the court how much of a defensive presence he is, and Portland now is going to need even more defense with Ja Morant coming there. But at the same time, the limited minutes that he's able to play, the fact that you have to really workload him as well, it's a valuable. He's a valuable front court piece. But at the same time, I know this isn't technically an overpay, but it feels like an overpay for how available Robert Williams usually is. That's what makes it feel like an overpay. Not just because I was hoping that my Chicago Bulls signed him for the backup center. It's just that because I didn't want them to sign him at that money. You stay in Portland. That's just the reality of it. You stay in Portland with that type of money. But you look at it, 59 games last season, 20 games the season before that. 41 the year before that combined between Boston and Portland. It's just, that's a tight line to walk there. But they've decided to go ahead and re-up Robert Williams, and we'll see what they can do. But the risk is there, the absolute risk there, even with it being $14.5 million. That is a huge risk. But they're betting on the number, and they're betting on him to help provide that frontline defense that they need. And let me know how you guys think about that. Do you think this is a good risk by Portland, or do you think centers are getting paid? Jock Landale also got $14 million with the to stay with the Atlanta Hawks on a 1-year deal that I didn't think he would get double-digit million. So clearly bigs are getting paid because the market there, you need bigs. Teams, especially playoff teams, want quality big depth. And so now I think that you're seeing that market could be $14 million, which is still crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. But that's going to do it for today's episode. LeBron is leaving the Lakers. Where do you think he goes? Do you think that the Kawhi Leonard and Clippers trade ends up going down today? And do you think that this is a good move for the Toronto Raptors? Let me know that down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at you can follow us at the Full Court YT on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything basketball and NBA related. And you guys can catch me next time I feel like making a video. Probably going to be today. Peace, y'all.
Been a presentation of the Breaks Media.